The console industry at the moment is in a very worrying place. Microsoft have just laid off over 2,000 employees from the Xbox division, and all console manufacturers have dialed things back in recent years in accordance with less demand for console gaming. Over the past 25 years of gaming, we've seen a lot of different fluctuations in the gaming industry. We've seen everything from consoles becoming more popular with the PlayStation 2, to portable consoles being mainstream and popularised with the PlayStation Portable, and we've also seen interactive gaming with consoles like the Wii. The problem is that the majority of the gaming industry has been controlled by novelties. Wii Sports was a novelty, the fact that gaming became a physical interactive movement. Grand Theft Auto games being in an open world was the first time that people could experience open and wide-scale sandbox style gaming. And over the years, the fundamentals of Grand Theft Auto games have stayed the same. They've just been expanded upon and grown to become the mammoth that it is today. But the actual state of the console industry is extremely alarming, and in this video I'm hoping I can break down how big of an impact GTA 6 could have, either way, positive or negative, on the console industry. But before we get into today's video, a lot of you know that recently YouTube haven't been playing fair with me. They've been demonetizing videos for no reason. All my live streams had monetization turned off. I've had to appeal them one by one, and of course I've had the notice from YouTube that at some point in the next 30 or so days they're going to let me know whether my account's going to be terminated. So I want to say a massive thanks to you guys and today's video sponsor for helping me keep the lights on. So I'm very proud to say that today's video is brought to you by Private Internet Access. When browsing online, whether you're gaming or streaming online content, it's important to protect yourself. Watching Netflix without private internet access is like paying for a director's cut but only seeing the trailer. Private internet access helps you overcome all of these restrictions and dangers by giving you the option to change your IP address to one of their 91 countries to choose from and 50 US states, allowing you to gain access to websites and services that are only available in those particular locations. Private internet access works on Windows, Android, Mac, iOS, and many more. And you can use one private internet access subscription on as many devices as you want. And no, that's not one at a time. You can use it on an unlimited amount of devices all at the same time. So if you want to stay protected on the internet, use the link down below to save yourself 83% on private internet access. That's just $2.03 a month. And you also get 4 months completely free. So the first thing I want to do in this video is split up the gaming industry. So obviously we have the console market, we have the PC market, and we have the mobile market. The mobile market will always exist because if it's in your pocket, it's playable. That's why consoles like the PlayStation Portable did really well, because it was in your pocket, and of course, phones became more powerful than the PSP was, which is why inevitably the PSP met its demise. And over the past 10 years in particular, we've seen a massive rise in the PC gaming market. PC gamers now make up between 40 to 50% of the whole gaming market. 10 years ago, that was more like 26 to 28%. And the main reason for this is that PC gaming allows you to really unlock the potential of these games. Everything from modifications for games, plus the ability to be able to have more keys with a keyboard and program certain commands into a game. Overall, gaming on a PC is way more interactive for you as a user. Now, I'm a huge fan of the saying, horses for courses. And the fact is that PC gaming is for gamers that are interested in gaming, whereas console gaming is for casual people. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is competitive console gaming, and console gaming is for gaming fanatics, but console gaming is also way more widely accessible to the mass public. And this is where we start to see the first sign of big problems in the industry. Console sales, considering that for the most part they are played by your casual gamer, who will spend maybe 2 hours a week just playing some Grand Theft Auto or FIFA, over the past few years there haven't been that many games that have been revolutionary for the industry. Now, of course, I know you're going to drop a comment with, well, this game changed this and this game changed that. I know, chill out, it's fine. But overall, there haven't been that many games that appeal to the casual gamer. Console sales over the years have really depended on the release of games like Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. They've been the most widely accessible games for an audience to play and become emotionally involved with as casual gamers rather than avid gamers. And because we've had this dead zone now for about 5, 6, 7 years, where there haven't really been massive console releases that appeal to the open and broad market, that has really damaged console sales. The PS5 massively undersold what its predictions were, and the only reason that it managed to pick up those figures were due to the pandemic. With people being stuck at home and people being furloughed from work, that gave more people free time to do things. But at the same time, that also gave people more free time to do things other than gaming. For example, people were watching movies. But overall, the gaming space did grow during the pandemic, and we've never seen a rise like that in previous history. But because games developers haven't been releasing AAA titles that appeal to the mainstream market rather than your average gamer, the console industry has suffered, and that is why we're seeing layoffs at companies like Microsoft, and even Sony to an extent. They have laid off certain departments. Now, of course, this has a knock-on effect. We've seen high street game retailers close down, we've seen subscription models pick up, and we've also seen massive advancements in mobile gaming with phone hardware just getting better. And of course, that leads on to the absolutely monumental monetization shift that we've seen. People have moved away from the idea that you buy a game and own a game. A lot of the market has moved towards the fact that you pay a subscription to play a game, or you play the game for free and your microtransactions with the game to unlock DLC or skins within the game are how those brands and companies in the gaming industry monetize you. But overall, this indicates just a widespread change within the gaming industry. Now, going back to the title of this video. So when GTA 6 is released on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, we're going to see a massive increase in sales of the PlayStation 5, maybe the PS5 Pro if we do get it in time, and then of course the Xbox as well. With increased demand, there will come increased supply, so we'll see more consoles on the market. Microsoft might employ back some of its old employees that they got rid of, and we'll see these companies generally sustaining the industry a little bit better. But the problem is once you employ a load of people to do things, when they're no longer required, you end up with more layoffs. And what we've seen in the past from Sony and Microsoft, they haven't actually been very good with their investment back into their business in their gaming sectors. In the early 2000s, the PlayStation 2 pretty much sustained Sony as a business. They weren't falling back on things like TV sales and stuff to sustain their business model. Their main source of income was the sales of the PlayStation 2 console. Whereas coming into the 2010s, this got completely flipped on its head. Sony selling smart products and Microsoft selling software and of course all of their PC related goods then became the thing that sustained the gaming sectors of their business. So with the revenue that's generated from the sale of consoles in accordance with the sales of GTA 6, these games developers will invest back into their business. But as soon as sales stop slowing down for consoles when the PC version of GTA 6 comes out, more casual gamers will switch to PC gaming over time. We're already seeing that transition happen now, and that transition will continue to happen over the next 10 years. Gaming PCs are becoming cheaper and more accessible, better hardware is becoming more accessible, and at the end of the day, selling 10 million consoles isn't enough for these big companies to keep open their gaming departments. They need to sell 50, 60, 100 million consoles for it to be worthwhile for them to sustain those areas of the business. And then this isn't even considering the factor, and it is only a small factor because I think it's very unlikely, but it's still worth discussing, GTA 6 could flop. Obviously, looking at Rockstar's track record, we don't think it will, obviously. But there's always the reality that it is possible for GTA 6 to flop, and therefore there's going to be a load of console sales in the lead up to the game. And when the game drops, if there are issues and it's just not playable, or if it's unfinished, or there's loads of problems, that may prevent people from actually buying the consoles. We saw something very similar with Cyberpunk. When that game came out, there was a general industry buzz about how great the game was going to be. And when it was released, loads of people just didn't even bother getting it because of all the issues. Like, even people that were reviewing the game couldn't review the game properly because the game was freezing and bugging out whilst they were trying to review it. Now, luckily they managed to come back from this and fix some of the major issues in the game, but still it did have knock-on effects in the gaming industry. My point is that at some point the console industry will disappear. Whilst there'll always be people that play games on consoles, it does get to the point where not enough consoles are selling for these console manufacturers to justify the cost of actually putting a console into development. And the next thing I want to talk about is limitations of consoles. Now, over time, when hardware gets perfected and more accessible, it usually becomes cheaper. But the problem is that we are always behind on this. More accessible hardware has never become cheap. The console sales are purely based on a price factor. They will put in whatever hardware they can to meet a certain price point that's widely accessible to your average consumer. With gaming PCs, as they're so modular, you can buy a pretty basic gaming PC for $500, $600, and over time, as you make more money, you can change out bits of hardware to improve your gaming experience. So to conclude this video, there is two sides to this. GTA 6 has the potential to save the console industry. It could generate an absolute massive amount of console sales for both Sony and Microsoft and cause them to invest more money back in those departments. But also at the same time, with GTA 6 being the only widespread release that's going to be more accessible to the general public, it's a massive risk for Sony and Microsoft to invest money into their console departments for the sake of one game. As it sits at the moment, console developers like Sony and Microsoft are laying off people in different departments because there just isn't enough requirement for them to work for the business. Consoles don't make up the majority of these companies' sales like they did at one point in time. And overall, I believe that we're only just getting started on the decline of console gaming. We're seeing a massive decline in console gamers, and those console gamers for the most part are casual people. We're seeing a massive increase in the PC market, which of course creates more revenue in those particular markets, but that that does take money and resources away from casual gamers. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and a huge thank you to Private Internet Access for sponsoring. If you did enjoy today's video, please consider liking, subscribing and becoming a member. And for those that are waiting for updates about what's happening on my channel or whether YouTube will decide to terminate my channel, go over to my community tab on my page and I'll be posting regular updates there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.